What up, Sinners? Infinite Sin here. I'm not doing a reaction today. I just wanted to sit here and talk with you and work on something with you guys. So we'll do the intro first. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been kind of a nice break. I'm sorry about last week and cutting it kind of short, but things came up. Been stressing over bills a lot lately and finances and whatnot. Trying to make it till next month, you know what I mean? We do have a fundraiser coming up this week. I'm hoping to get it started by midweek. If not, definitely by the end of the week. It's been kind of hard to film with all the stress that's been happening around the house, but we're gonna make it work. I've already got the storyboard lined out, and the person it's for, they've already seen it and approved of the storyline, so now I just have to film. So here's how it's going to work today. I'm actually going to pull up Blender for you guys. I'll go ahead and turn this on for you. That's Blender right there. Okay, this is the whole user interface. And I'm going to build something, and you guys are going to, if you want to, stick around and watch me build it, and then we're going to stare at it for a little bit and make a few adjustments, but you guys are going to pick out how you want this thing built. All right, now I'll get more into that soon. Well, for now, I'll tell you what it's for. We're doing a project. I'm doing a project. I'm going to create something for you guys that should hopefully come out at the end of the year if everything goes right, depending on how hard it is to make everything. And if you guys enjoy doing this, maybe we'll do this again, but we'll see how it works out. Okay, but what's going to happen is I'm going to build a basic model of what it is that I'm looking for, and then we're going to analyze it, maybe add a few adjustments, cut a few things into it, and then I'm going to show you the previous piece that I have built and decided on, and you guys are going to put suggestions in the comments for me about what we should add or what we should take away or do, and I'm going to make those adjustments on the next video, and we'll go from there. The end goal of this being that all of you have a hand in this project that I'm trying to make. This will be a pickup from the 4 Army video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. I'll throw a link in the description. One of the projects I did last year. And I'm hoping for good things. I'm hoping that this comes out well. If it doesn't, it's okay. We'll have some more of these. If you guys like doing this, we'll do some more. But this is really just to kind of show you some of the stuff that I plan on doing on my second channel. The second channel that I have is strictly for graphics oriented things. Got a bunch of work I've done so far. And if you guys want to go check that out, help support me financially, subscribe to that and watch all the videos there for me without skipping through. If you can, I would greatly appreciate that, and much love to you guys who do. All right, I think I've talked enough. I'm not going to be on screen for this. You're just going to hear my voice. You know, if you guys do want to see my face next time, just let me know and I'll make it happen for you guys. You know I love you. And we'll be doing more videos like normal this week as time goes on. Just really depends on how this whole job thing goes and how much I stress, but yeah. I think I've talked enough, so what do you say we get started? Alright, for those of you who are new here or have never seen this in your life, this is a program called Blender. Now, Blender is a 3D sort of CAD-based programming, right? It basically takes lines and dots and makes 3D object. Your computer computes the information and you come up with 3D stuff. So that's pretty much a basic rundown of what Blender is. What do I use it for? So I create things in Blender and use them in computer-based projects. Some of the videos I've done have been with this program. Like 4 Army was done with After Effects, but it's the same concept. And then like in anything 3-dimensional, the pictures of the emblems that I had you guys choose from, that was made in this, and that's actually what we're going to be working on today is the third thing, because you guys couldn't make up your mind and it came out to a tie 2 times in a row. So this is what we're going to be doing today. Let's start with everything that we're going to need. We're going to need a reference picture, which I already have set up. And if you guys don't know what this is actually from the 4 Army vid. You guys may recognize this, right? Hopefully I don't get copyright pop for that, but we'll see. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is pull out our object. Now I could use any object I want in this, but today we're just modeling the general shape. So we're just going to do the easy stuff today. We'll move on to the harder stuff later. So let me open. We don't have to save this. We can come back. Where is it? Alright, so we're going to take a look at what I've done before and what you guys decided to choose from. Now this is the shape is the general shape what we're going to do. All right, so in the full army video, if you're not familiar with it, it's about 2 spaceships. They look like the BTS and the army logo flying through space. They come to Earth to bring the music to the world, right? And that's where we left off. The future project is going to be the actual combined emblem coming to Earth, and then the story picking up from there, which I will not reveal until I have it finished. Tough nookies, right? And this is what I had in mind. This is personally my favorite piece because it gives it scale. It makes it look big, right? Like if I were a little person standing right here where this mouthpiece is, you know, and the mouse is the size of the person, then this ship is going to be like a city, right? Or it's going to be like just overbearingly huge, and I expect it to stand up straight like that. So my mouse would actually be right here, right? And oh my god, that would be so big if you walked up on it. Emphasizing the mass, the detail emphasizes the mass, and that was the important feature of it. So I like this the most. It's busy, it gives it style, it gives it intricacy, and I think it works. But there's also another version that I did, and I did this strictly so you guys would have something to pick between, because I wanted y'all to be a part of this regardless. Alright, and this is the more simpler version of that. It's done the same way. It has a few things I need to work on, but like, it's basically supposed to be the same concept, but it doesn't really give it the scale as the same scale as the other one, and that's the problem I'm having. Although I do like some of the intricacies of this, and it's a little more organized, so it's a tough choice. It really is a tough choice. So today we're gonna build a new one. We've reached the point to where we're going to build. So let's bring up the reference picture. Let's set up in front of it directly, right? And let's find our cube. All right, let's find our cube. You see this dot right here? Let's get situated first. This little dot right here is your axis. It's the center of everything, right? It's what anything you do, it will be centered around this little dot. And what I want to do is put it on the left side, but these are usually, I mean, you can put them anywhere, but they're usually centered around the dots on the side, which look like this, right? So all these little dots and stuff. Right, I want this point on a dot, but I want it directly in the middle of this side. So what we're going to do first, we're going to scale this to where we want it, because the dot is really only important for the reflection, and I'll show you that in a minute. We're going to try to center this perfectly on one side, and what I want to do is kind of get a little bit of evenness. Let's shrink it a little bit. All right, and then we'll move it up. And you can see that it doesn't fit 100% in the square space within this object. So we need to make that happen. So we will bring down, we'll bring down the Z axis a little bit, move it. And this will be our corner point, and this will be our corner point. These are our 2 reference points that we're trying to line up with. So just a little more. That was a little too much, so let's go out. And I think generally that'll be fine. Okay. Now, looking at it, it doesn't look like much, right? Just a square within the shape that we're trying to build on. And we want to try to take up this whole space exactly the same way. So like, how are we going to do that here? And how are we going to do that here and up here? Well, I'm going to show you. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's switch to the edit mode. And I'm not going to explain too many things here. I just want you guys to follow along, like, you know, hang out and watch it with me. So we can actually move this point here if we wanted to, and then just fill in the points, right? But I kind of want to maintain an amount of symmetry. Keeping this line straight is important, but I want to try to use as little additions as possible. All right. And before I get started with any of that, we have to move this axis to this side in the middle. Now, how do we do that? We're going to subdivide. Select the whole thing because I want to subdivide it all. Just one time. And what this does, it gives it more faces to work with. So when when I need to add on things or take things away, I can do it in just a one section as opposed to a bigger section, and then gives it more detail. So what we'll do here is we'll go to the front side and we'll bring up our reference, and then we'll twist just a hair, and we'll go back to object mode, turn the transparency off, and then we're going to shrink this because it's way too thick. So that's on the y-axis, and we'll shrink that in just about right there, and that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Not too wide either. So I don't like big, wide, fat, blocky things. It's not my style. Okay, so back to edit mode, transparency back on. We now have a point right in the middle where we want it. Yeah. Okay, so you see this little circle thing floating around looking like a bullseye? That is called your cursor. It is your reference point to your world, and anything you bring in will start right at that cursor, and anything you want to move, you can move to this very easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this axis point, we're going to move this cursor to this dot, and then we're going to move this axis point to this cursor, and that will be all we need to do that. So what we'll start off with is hit that, and we're going to move cursor to the selected, which is this dot right here. So cursor to selected, moved it there. We're going to go back out to object mode, and we're going to set the origin to the 3D cursor, and that moves it there. So now anything I do shape wise, moving wise, it starts here and goes outward, or it starts here and goes outward, just depending on which way I go, positive, negative. All right, it's edit mode, front. Okay, now we have this, and this is only needed here because later we're going to have to reflect this to make the image, and I'm doing it this way because, I mean, why not? Let's go ahead and set the mirror to it. Mirror, and you see that? So if I were to take this dot and move it out, it does it to the same side, and it's just an easier way to build. Okay, so now we have all these points. We can move on the Y and the Z axis, right, and the Z axis. And this line of reference right here is where the next point comes in. So let's go ahead and move all these lines in the middle to this line here. And we'll do it right there. Okay, and we'll clean up everything later. Right now, if it looks like wires and lines everywhere, just let it happen, man. Just let it happen. So next piece is we're going to, let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to take these at the bottom. We're going to move it down to the point right there. We're going to take this corner. We're going to move it down to the point right there. And we want to make sure we get as much as we can. So let's do it right there. All right. And we'll come back up here. We'll do the same thing. We're going to do both of them at the same point because, and I'll show you why. We're going to take these two and we're going to move it up and make sure it lines up, right? And now we have pretty much 2/3 of our object built. Isn't that crazy? Seems like a lot, but it's not. All right. So now everything below is finished. We need to do everything up top. All right. So we're going to take these two and we're going to move it up to the next crease or point, which is right here. We're going to do that again. But instead of just extending it, because if I move it up, right, it ruins the shape. You see that? So this line that was once perfect is not perfect anymore. So let's go ahead and bring that back. And we're going to extend another piece out of this to hit that point. And I'll show you in 3D so you guys know. If I were to push E, it means extend or extrude, E, Z. Right? You see how it extended from that? So that point is now there, but we just extended it up. And we'll go ahead and we can do this so you guys can see it in real time because all these are still selected, right? And then you push E and we'll move it. It's already situated on the Z axis, so we'll just go straight up with it till we hit that point and stop. All right. And the reason we're doing this is because each individual section, since this has a different angle, we want to make sure that it fits that angle. Now, how do you take square base and turn it into a triangle? Well, it's easy. you do it last. You got to do squares. It starts off with squares. You triangulate, which means, to triangulate means to pinpoint. And that's what we're going to do. So first we're going to do the extension, right? We'll start there. And I only stop there so that we have a point to come back to. Because if I were just to take it and keep moving up, there's no point in between. Let's enable clipping. Because if I were just to move it, we would no longer have a point there, and we need that point there to make that crease. So let's kick that back. So we're going to extend it. Let's do that. And we're going to hit that point right there. And since I can't see where that point is, I need to do this in transparency mode. I'm gonna go up. Oops. And we're gonna hit that right there. Okay, so now we're back. All right, so that almost looks complete. We're almost there. It looks weird. It's starting to look really bad, honestly. Trying not to think dirty here, but Okay, so how do we make this dot and this dot connect? We're gonna have to fill that in. And normally I would just highlight them all and then make the same command, but for some reason the interior won't do that, so we have to do it individually. So what we'll do is we'll do this. All right, and we'll just connect them. All right, and now we have our angle that we're looking for. All right, front, we need to get rid of this one, so we'll highlight it and we'll delete it, or we'll dissolve it. All right, now you're probably looking at me or at the screen like, what just happened and why did it happen? Well, there's a good answer to that. Since we deleted or dissolved certain points, which were up here, the faces had nowhere to go, so they disappeared. And the ones that were connected are now making weird shapes like this one on the left, right? If you're wondering why there's no dots on the left, it's because this is not a real object yet. It's still in beta phase. It's like, you haven't told me to make it a real thing, so I haven't done it yet. This is just what it will look like if you do, kind of situation. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to kind of complete these faces a little bit. So let's go ahead and hit all the dots connected. F, right? And then we'll do the exterior first, F, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, F. All right, it still looks weird on this side, and the reason it looks weird on this side is because some of these are not connected the way that I want them to be. All right, so let's look at our object. All right, this object is supposed to be hollow. It has this as the top of its object. Let's go inside the object. All right, we are now inside the object, and you can see that it's hollow all the way throughout. I might have some lines and stuff that I don't need, but we'll deal with that later. And we need to get rid of this top. So let's go ahead and select face select, grab that face right there, and just get rid of it. All right, now we can see that there's no weird lines over here or anything, and that's what we want. And we want to keep this as hollow as possible. And the only reason there's a face here is because originally this is not actually here. Does that make sense? All right, turning it on and off. So we need to complete one half before the other half is complete, and we want it to stay hollow, so we're not going to do anything here. We're just going to do stuff to the outside. So let's switch back to the dots, and we're going to start with one side. We're going to fill that in. We're going to do the same to the other. Boom, boom, boom. Fill that in. And then we're going to fill out each individual one, because if I fill out just 4 corners, it will go under that line, and then that line will be disconnected and we'll have problems. So we don't want that. So boop, 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 and boop. Oops. All right. And then boop, 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 and boop. Bam. We are there. Right? We have successfully recreated what is in the image, and now we need to make a slight alteration. All right, so I kind of don't like the tip to this. Does that make sense? I kind of want like a flat shot, like, because if this were a vest, I would be wearing it on my shoulders, and regular vests don't have little tips. They have flat pieces that hang on your shoulders just for support, right? So we want to do that to the object. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so in order to do that, I need to put a dot here and a dot here. So let's do that. Let's go back into transparent mode so that I can select all the dots instead of just, you know, one dot. Right. Select them all, and then select them all. We're going to subdivide, put a dot in the middle, right? And it did that to every piece. Now, yes, he gave me more faces, but we can deal with that later. More faces is not necessarily a bad thing at this point. And then we need to do that also to this piece. All right, and now we have 2 dots, and that's what we want. And it seems kind of irrelevant because we're going to get rid of these at the top, but trust me, it's worth it. So we'll do that. Let's fill it in. Just make sure it has a connection and that it is one piece, F, right? And then we can get rid of all that right there. Let's go ahead and delete. And yes, I know it took a bunch of stuff away, and you know why I did it? Because these were not connected. So let's go ahead and make that right now. Okay. And then we'll connect this piece and we can get rid of these. All right, we are winning. Now, you see when I got rid of those 2, it deleted the connections. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we got to get rid of those 2 faces. We can make it happen again later. So let's delete faces. And I know this is confusing. It's not meant to be like an educational thing. It's just for y'all to watch and hang out and stuff. So let's just make sure all of our lines are there. Oops. Right. And these are all of our lines. So now we need to complete them. You guys remember how we did that? Probably dissolve that and dissolve that. Okay. So now we're on dots. Let's complete 1, 2, 3, 4, F. 2, 3, 4, F. Oops. F. And yeah, there are easier ways to do this, but I'm literally just trying to make it visually simple as possible for you guys. So you guys kind of understand the things I go through when I'm building things is quite a process, even if it's simple. But you get used to it, you find shortcuts, and I want you guys to at least understand the basics. Okay, so there we are. All right, so this is cool and everything, but let's look at it from the front. All right, let's compare. Right, for me, this seems a little short. I feel like these points could go up just a hair, maybe like right here, right? That makes sense. So what I want to do is I'm going to take all of the top and oops, we need to be in transparent mode so I get everything. Take all of the top and I want to extrude it up to that point. Okay, and oh no, it looks weird now, right? Let's take that. And then we'll just move it to the side and line it up. It's about right there. Okay, so now we get rid of this and it looks like a vest, guys. Congratulations, that's what we were shooting for. That's exactly what we were shooting for, and it looks weird. It's kind of modeled weird, but in general, every single section is made up of 4 points, and that's the basis, the easiest way to model. Simplest way. It's how you get things in video games very, very easily, because the computer, let's bring up stats, doesn't have to compute like a million faces over here in the left up here, right? It tells you, so your faces, you have 43 faces, and a face is just a square face or a triangle face. It's the flat part, right? Vertices are the dots, right? It has 48 vertices, and the edges, obviously the edges, are going to be double of everything else, so it's about 91. And then your triangles are 86. I honestly don't even know where my triangles are. I don't see it. If I'm being fair. Right. And so this is the general shape that we're gonna stick with. It looks like one whole piece. That's not too bad. And you see this little dent right here? Bam. That means this is not straight. So we need to fix that. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. And then what it does, it probably needs to come out just a little bit. Yeah. And we'll move it back out right there. And in the event that this doesn't work, we can always delete this middle part right here. Go ahead and dissolve that. Right. Ooh, it looks weird. That's because I didn't make my connections like I was supposed to, because I'm irresponsible. And there's 2 dots here, so we want to get rid of one of these. So let's go ahead and dissolve that. All right, now there's 1. You see, because it's touching both lines, and that's important to look at. Touching both lines, that's what we want. All right, so we're good now. All right, so let's go to faces, turn off transparency, and let's get rid of any faces that are connected. See how that's all connected? We don't want that. So we're going to delete the face. All right. All right, so we need to make these connections right here. F, oops, F. We'll connect these two, F. All right, we will delete this dot. Or dissolve it, rather. Put that there, F. Right, and now we have connections all the way through. So let's make sure we hit every dot on the line. On that face, connect. Same thing. Right, and same thing. Oops, we had 1 too many dots. There we go. F. Alright. Now we can look at the 2 in comparison. The only thing missing is that tip, and that's exactly what we wanted to get rid of. So now it looks just like every other shape of the 2 that I showed you before. So now we only got one more thing to do, and that's to make that other side part of the object and complete and actually make it a real thing by giving it its own dots and lines, right? Because right now the computer's not reading it, and you're going to see how that changes here in just a second. Okay, so if we look up here to the left, this is all of our stats, tells us all of our faces, everything. So if I get rid of the reference and I click all, right, it's only highlighting the right side because the right is the only real part of this. This has not been, on the right over here, has not been solidified, so it technically does not exist. Okay, you guys see my numbers here? This is an object mode and this is an edit mode. You notice how that changes 36 and 36 is, thought it was 72. Not adding it up right, but that's fair. But you notice how the number changes here? That's because in edit mode, the only part that exists is this right side. But in object mode, everything exists, so it doubles it up. So I want to make sure that this is solidified, and what we're going to, you cannot apply your modifier in edit mode. So let's go back into edit mode and look at the numbers, 77, 36, and 34, 41, 77, 36, and 74, right? We're going to go make the change in object mode and make that a real thing. And we'll go back to edit mode and notice everything has doubled, or at least close to doubled. But this is what we're going to end up with, right? And that's the general basic shape that everything else had. So that's going to do it. This is the basis of modeling a 3D object. Next time when we come back, you guys will help me make slight changes to it. We'll put cuts in it. We'll give it the small details and paneling it needs. If we want to add like pipes or blocks sticking out of it, we're going to do more with this as it goes on. Windows, all kinds of things, right? But you guys get to help me stylize this vest, and hopefully in the end we both come out, we come out with something that we both like. That's the end goal for this. And I hope you guys enjoy this. If you didn't, I'll understand. This is not for everybody, but I want you guys to be part of this. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this. If you enjoyed it, if you hated it, if it was not for you, like what you think would be cool to add to it, because the end goal is to make this a spaceship. So kind of keep that in mind. Look at pictures, watch Star Wars, whatever you got to do. And shoot me some ideas, because I think this would be a lot of fun if we could get a good dialogue going. And this is actually something I can do on stream with you guys if y'all are up for it. I'll be back soon with the regular process. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I got to get up early and do some adult stuff. We'll pick more up on this if you guys want. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will check you guys later.